There's not going to be any easy answers yet, once again. And when I was first put on the council in May of last year, most of the heavy lifting on the budget, if you will, had been done. But I quickly realized that what we have been doing and what we are doing is unsustainable over the long term. And some of these short-term fixes are very disconcerting to me, if you will. The borrowing or taking or whatever from funds that we've strategically put aside for a long time. I mean, that's one of the most conservative things you can do, is to save for the future. When you buy a piece of equipment and you know it's going to need to be serviced over time and even replaced at some point, you start setting money aside to take care of it. And while some folks might call it a rainy day fund, I call it a planning for the future kind of fund. And so it really was disconcerting to me to see us having to take from those fund reserves or fund balances, if you will. So when I was very first put on the council, I think it was the very first meeting, I started calling for kind of a long-term I was calling it a multi-year budget plan. And the die were cast already for the last year's budget. We worked together to put together a strategic plan as the town. You'll recall that one of the 5 initiatives is what they are calling a rolling budget plan, which is very similar to what I had originally proposed, that we start looking ahead at what the long-term implications are of what we're doing, and that we make it clear to the voters and to businesses and to all of us what services we want as a town long term, and then figure out, okay, how much do they cost and how are we going to fund it. So that was kind of the long-term plan that I was asking for. I've learned that sometimes things take a little longer in government to get to where you want them to get. What we've done this year is put together a strategic plan. The strategic plan, and it was great because we've had a lot of citizen input at the beginning and very recently, and then the staff has done a lot of work to outline some of those services. What service portfolio will the town offer over the long run? And so we worked on a strategic plan, which was kind of answering the first question: what kind of a town do we want to be? What kind of services do we want to have? And the next question, which this is all long term. I'm not getting to your specific question for this year, but the next question is, all right, well, what's it going to cost? And then the next question is, how are we going to pay for it? I would like us to put together a roadmap, if you will. It's a fiscal framework for the future that really does answer the question at build out: what is going to be required to keep this town running with the level of services that the community wants? How much is that going to cost? Then we can work backwards, if you will. What is the mix of revenues that will best sustain it when there isn't construction sales tax to depend on? And then once we figure out what that picture is going to look like, how do you phase it, or how do you get there between now and then? And so that's what I'm going to be calling for. For the short term, for this year, I hate to say it, but I think we're going to see more of the same. I think we're going to see, or hopefully some new efficiencies as the more we get squeezed. I mean, it's a very lean budget. It's not, the town is not a bureaucratic mess like the federal government or something. It's a very lean community. The employees have been very generous and kind and patient, if you will. They get paid less than most other communities around the valley, and they work hard. And so there's going to be, probably you're going to see hopefully some new efficiencies. You're going to see probably a little bit more out of the fund balances, and the employees may offer to do something again. And last year we didn't take them up on it, but who knows that this year's how things shake, and it's going to look similar. And my whole goal is to stop. First of all, we can't do it much longer. but to start looking strategically to the future, asking the tough questions, getting the community together to answer them, to clearly understand what the implications are of going down path A versus path B. Let the community digest that and respond, which way do you want to go, and then develop a plan around it, that fiscal framework for the future, that roadmap. So.